What's up, y'all? It's football season again. That means it's time for the 2019 mock season. All right, I put together a chart, all the games. I make a pick, whole season, and then I come up with the playoffs, and then come up with a Super Bowl winner. So, starting off in the AFC East, I've got the Patriots winning that division. No big surprise there, 13-3. We all know what they are, what they can do. I've got the Bills in there at 7-9. Not too impressed with much of that they did. McDermott's a decent coach, but I don't think they're going to really make too many strides. They got a good young quarterback, but I don't really expect them to do too much. I got them 7-9. Now the Jets. Jets, I think, made some great moves in the offseason, picked up some great players. They got guys like Le'Veon Bell, got C.J. Mosley in their middle linebacker. However, they hired Adam Gase for some crazy reason, who wasn't any good with the Dolphins, and they bring him in to coach the Jets now. So I got them 7-9 as well. Now moving on to the AFC North, I've got the Pittsburgh Steelers at 14-2. They've shed a lot of weight. They shed Antonio Brown. We've seen what kind of problems he can be so far, and the season hasn't even started. They got rid of Le'Veon Bell, who sat out last year, made it more about him. So the Steelers are back. They're fully loaded, don't have any cap space being eaten up by guys sitting out, and they don't have a lot of locker room distractions right now. So I expect the Steelers to get it together. I think they're going to play a lot more balanced ball, and I think Roethlisberger will be an MVP candidate. So I've got Pittsburgh Steelers at 14-2. I've got the Baltimore Ravens. I got them in the playoffs as well with a wild card at 11-5. I think Lamar Jackson's going to make some progressions there. I don't like the fact that they got rid of Mosley, but they've always done pretty well on defense. That's one of their staples. So I expect that to continue in Baltimore. Now I've got the Cleveland Browns at 5-11. People think that just because you get some flashy wide receivers that you're all automatically going to go to the playoffs, win 10, 11 games. I don't think so. They got a rookie coach in Freddie Kitchens. They're bringing in guys, Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry. Yeah, they were great together, good together at LSU. Odell Beckham's been very flashy, and he's put up a lot of numbers on a Giants team that isn't very good. So I don't know why they think that just because he's on the team that this team's going to win the Super Bowl or something crazy like that. But anyway, I got the Cleveland Browns at 5-11. They're going to have to show me. Next, Cincinnati Bengals. Man, they were talk about rebuilding. I got them 1-15. I don't like anything that this team's done. I think they're seriously in rebuilding mode. All right, moving on to the AFC South. I've got that division being won by the Jaguars at 5-11. I know the biggest thing is they got Nick Foles, but I think they're really just going to start clicking together. They've got a quarterback now that's much more accomplished than Blake Bortles. I was never that much of a Bortles hater, but I just think they asked him to do too much. I think Foles would be a much better fit with this team. You got Fournette coming back, and Jacksonville's defense is going to be tough again, I think. And I think controlling the turnovers and being able to move the chains of a guy like Nick Foles is definitely going to help them out. So I got them 11-5. The Titans. I expect them to make strides. I expect them to make strides every year. They don't quite do what I think they're going to do. I got them at 10-6 this year, though. However, I think things are just going to start clicking for them. I really think Derrick Henry needs to get the ball a lot more. I think they're going to do that this year. Hopefully, for their sake, they do that. But I got them 10-6. I think they can control the pace. They got a decent defense. They got a smart coach in Vrabel. So we'll see what the Titans can do coming up this year. Colts, man. I really hate to see what happened to them. I got them 4-12, fourth place. Andrew Luck retired. The team was looking good last year, but I think this is going to hurt them momentum-wise. I think they're going to have trouble getting it together. You need to have a solid offensive system. So I think they're going to struggle 4-12 for the Colts. Houston Texans, up and down, back and forth, 8-8. That's what I got them. They look great some weeks. They don't look so great other weeks. And they've gone from being more of a defensive team. I think they're just really going to focus on the offense. They got rid of Clowney. He's gone to Seattle. So I think that Houston is going to be 8-8. And I don't like them to make the playoffs this year. Now in the West, I've got the team is Kansas City. I like them kind of 11-5. Not quite as strong as last year, but hey, there's a lot of tape out of Mahomes now. I don't expect him to have quite as good of a year as he did last year, but I still expect him to win the division 11-5. Second place, I've got Denver at 9-7. Vic Fangio is the head coach now there, coming out of Chicago's defensive coordinator. I think he's going to keep them in line. They're going to do a little better than last year. Not too great. So I got them 9-7. after bringing in Flacco. Chargers. Another team up and down, back and forth. I got them 8-8. The schedule's a little bit tougher, I think, than last year. So they'll have some good games. They'll have some tough games, and Phillip Rivers will throw for a lot of yards, as he always does. Chargers 8-8, and then the Raiders. I got the Raiders at 4-12. Yeah, maybe I'm just being harsh, but I just don't see it. Antonio Brown's not into the groove. He's not about football. He's about himself. He's about his helmet. He's about freezing his feet off. He's done everything except for just be quiet. I mean, if you're in the news, you need to be in the news for doing things on the field, not for being an off-field distraction. So Raiders, I'm sorry, I got 4-12. Next, in the NFC East, I'm going with the Eagles, 12-4. I mean, this is going to be counting on Jordan Howard having a good year, and counting on Wentz staying healthy. They hit some roadblocks last year. They still made the playoffs. Lost a tough one to New Orleans, but I got them 12-4 this year. Cowboys, division winners last year, 8-8. Up and down, back and forth. They don't do anything to impress me. I mean, they want to stay too balanced. They don't really want to make those moves to push the team over the edge. Jerry Jones, to me, he just wants too much control over the team. So 8-8. That's where I got the Cowboys. All right. Giants and Redskins. I got them both 4-12. All right. Giants are definitely rebuilding. If they're going to start Eli, I mean, that doesn't make any sense. And then they get Daniel Jones. Doesn't make any sense either. Get rid of Odell Beckham. Yeah, he wasn't winning you tons of games, but he's still the most productive player in your offense. So it's all Saquon Barkley now. It's all Barkley. It's Barkley's team, and you can't win with just an exciting running back. So 4-12 I got for the Giants. Redskins, I don't have any faith in this team. Jay Gruden, I think this may be his last year there. 4-12 I got them. Next in the North, Chicago. I got them 10-6 this year. I've got Minnesota winning the division at 13-3. I think they're going to bounce back. I think Cook's going to have a great year. Thielen and Diggs are always pretty awesome. I think Cousins will be a lot more acclimated to the offense, and it'll get them a much better season and a much better performance out of the defense, because the offense will perform a lot better. So 13-3 I've got for the Vikings. The Chicago Bears I've got at 10-6. Do have them missing the playoffs, though, off of a tiebreaker. Unimpressive game last night out of them. I think they will get it together a little bit, but without that defensive disciplinarian, Fangio, he's gone to Denver to be the head coach. I don't think Chicago's going to be as tough. Green Bay, I've got them 8-8. Now, once again, you got the coaching change. They've just been falling off over the years. They just expect Aaron Rodgers to do everything, and they don't really want to focus on keeping the defense stout. So, Green Bay 8-8. Now Detroit Lions 2-14. Now Matt Patricia, I think he's a decent guy, decent coach. I don't like any of the moves that they've made. To me, it's all about trying to get Stafford to win it all, and then you're going to try to scheme your way around on defense. I don't like it. I think he's probably going to get fired and he'll be back in New England next year as defensive coordinator. Next, in the South, I've got the Saints winning it again, not as convincingly. I've got them 11-5 this year. They got rid of Mark Ingram, so there's no more two-headed monster there. Mark Ingram's in Baltimore. I still like this team. I just think they really had a good shot the past 2 years, and they just kind of missed. And I don't know if they're going to be able to put together that same momentum again. Now, second place, I've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that hiring Bruce Arians is going to be a great move for Tampa Bay. He's going to get the offense clicking like he always does. They bring in Todd Bowles, defensive coordinator. I think he's going to do a good job with the defense here in Tampa Bay with Bruce Arians running the team. I got them 10-6. All right, Carolina. They're still flubbing all over the place. I mean, they want Cam Newton to do everything, and other one of those teams, they don't want to keep guys around. So 6-10 for Carolina. We think Riverboat Ron, I don't know, he may be on the hot seat after this season. And another guy on the hot seat, Quinn in Atlanta, I got them 5-11. Now, both these teams were recently in the Super Bowl. However, they lost a lot of the players, they lost a lot of the assistants, and they really didn't do much to rebuild since then. So I don't like either of these teams. Carolina 6-10, Atlanta 5-11. Now, in the West, we got the Rams at 14-2. I think they're going to continue out that momentum, even though they came up with 3 points in the Super Bowl. I think they're still a decent team. They just really got out-schemed by the Patriots there. Second place, I've got Seattle. As I mentioned, they picked up Clowney. I think Seattle's getting it back together, ready to make another run into the playoffs here. Pete Carroll's a good coach. Russell Wilson now, he's definitely the man on the team. So it's up to some of these younger guys to kind of fill in the gaps. The way Russell Wilson filled in when the defense was the star, and he was coming in as the new quarterback doing his thing. Now 9-7, I've got the 49ers. I think they're going to make some strides. I like Shanahan as a coach. I think Garoppolo's decent. So 9-7 is not really an insult to them. I just don't think they have it together enough yet to really make the playoffs. And I got the Arizona Cardinals at 1-15. I mean, I'm not the only one who thinks they're going to be terrible this year. They're still trying to rebuild and put things together. So we'll see what they got. 1-15. Now, that puts Pittsburgh number 1 seed in the AFC, New England number 2, and the Rams number 1 seed in the NFC, and Minnesota number 2. So in the playoffs here, we're going to start off in the wild card matchups. I got Seattle at Philly. I think Seattle's going to go into Philadelphia, get a win. I like the momentum they got going. I think they'll be able to beat the Eagles at home this time. Then in the other NFC matchup, I've got New Orleans hosting Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think New Orleans will get that win. Tampa Bay, I think, will get into the playoffs. But they aren't really quite ready for that yet, and I think New Orleans is going to get the win at home there. In the AFC, I've got Jacksonville versus Tennessee. Jacksonville at home. I think they're going to get a win against Tennessee, who's going to eke their way in. I think Jacksonville is going to be a little bit more solid and get that win. Next, I've got Kansas City playing Baltimore in the wild card game. Kansas City, I expect to get the win. I expect it to be a high-scoring game there. Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, I think they're going to go back and forth, but Kansas City will get the win at home. Now, setting up in the divisional playoffs here, that puts Seattle in L.A. to play the Rams. I think the Rams will be rested, and I think they'll take advantage of that. I think they'll get the win. The number 2 seed Minnesota, I've got them hosting New Orleans. Now, I think they're going to be able to get the win again against New Orleans. I think New Orleans, I don't know, maybe I think their time is just faded. They're going to have to really come out and blow some people out. Now, they played too many close games, and it's just gotten the best of them. So I got Minnesota with that win there. Now, in the AFC, I've got Pittsburgh hosting Kansas City. I think Pittsburgh's going to get a win. I think the defense will get to Patrick Mahomes. They won't be able to score enough, and I think Pittsburgh will take advantage of that defensively and get the win. I've got New England hosting Jacksonville. To no surprise, I think New England's going to get the win over Jacksonville there, even though I think Jacksonville will give them a good game. Now, in the conference championships game, Rams hosting Minnesota Vikings. I've got the Vikings to actually get the win, and Vikings making it to the Super Bowl with a win over the Rams at home. And Pittsburgh hosting New England. I think Pittsburgh will get that win. They're going to have to be at home. I don't think they can win in Foxborough, but I think in Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh can get that win against New England in a very tight game, probably win it by a field goal or so. But I got Pittsburgh in the Super Bowl playing against the Minnesota Vikings, and I got the Pittsburgh Steelers winning it. I think Roethlisberger's got a good chance to be MVP. I think they've shed a lot of the garbage they've got going on here and there. And even though I like Minnesota, I think Pittsburgh will be able to get the win. So that's how I've got this season shaken out. We'll see how it comes down. Enjoy watching football, everybody. Thanks again.